resourcefulness. This is what New Earth is about. It's one consciousness. There is no separation between the parts of it, and you recognize yourself in each and every part. It's like the drops of the ocean, where that love is so overwhelmingly pure and real.
And it's available to everybody, as much as you're led to believe it isn't, because obviously the fear is, it feels like they're in ultimate gear now in order to distract you from ultimately your true power. And we're here to remind you that you have it within you. You do not have to be misled into fear, blame, all of the lower frequency vibrations of those emotions, that when you tap into your true potential, you can rise up beyond anything in whatever environment you're in. Hi guys, welcome back to what we now call the New Earth. We transitioned from the conscious kingdom, and we want to really delve into why this has happened, and from our recent trips away of how it's deepened and our awareness of what the New Earth really truly stands for.
Yeah, we had this calling that was just so strong within us to hold the space and create the space for what we now call the New Earth. The conscious kingdom was aiding us in creating the foundation, the right dynamic between us and the people around us, so that we are more sovereign in who we truly are in order to hold the space for the New Earth. We didn't know what it was at the time, but we knew that's what we needed to commit to, and that's what we've done.
Yeah, when you have the ideas that come to you, especially for us channeling such a huge purpose, really to come from a place of alignment, and what does it mean to birth the New Earth? You know, something that we can't get our head around, that it's not about getting there with the mind. You can only get there with the heart, and in order to get there with the heart, you need to really confront every aspect of yourself, the ugly, the beautiful, and really truly know how to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to enter the New Earth. And from the work that we do and carry on doing, we're having to confront parts of ourselves together, by ourselves, in groups, that can be really scary at times. And in order to become the New Earth, to be in the New Earth, you need to be there within yourself, and it will come to you. And it's having that really the ability, faith, trust in yourself, that you are cared for when you do confront the aspects of yourself you've been hiding. You know, the trauma, the pain, whatever's happened to you in childhood, how you behave from your childhood into your adult life. When you do this, I feel like you open a space, and this is only going from our own experience, and certainly my own experience. When you do that, you open, you really do step into heaven on earth. And it's not something outside of yourself. When you become vulnerable and you share in a loving space, ultimately what the New Earth is, you feel that you can heal those past pains. And when you do that, your heart expands and opens, and then suddenly a new dimension opens up, and you feel so loved by something, because it was always there. We just got confused. I feel like misled somehow away from that it was always within, because we've had to put our guard up, we've had to protect ourselves for whatever reason. But once that goes, you feel safe in the environment to do that, you just feel love, and you want to share that love. And as corny as that sounds, I was not that kind of guy before to speak like this, but it's chalk and cheese, as a friend of ours just said recently. It really is between one and the other. And for us, well, we know where we'd rather be, and we really want to share that with everyone.
So what is the New Earth really about? As we said to you before, we ourselves had no idea, but we knew there was a strong calling to hold the space for it. And the real birth of what we now call the New Earth has happened for us on the 22/02/22, the special auspicious year that humanity was preparing for, knowingly and unknowingly. And during that time, we were in Egypt, and we have welcomed this new auspicious day, this new era in humanity, the new Aquarius age, in the pyramids. we were so lucky that it was just us in the group that had the access to the pyramids, and we really aligned with the truth of what they represent on Earth. And the pyramids themselves, they represent a library, the library of keys for humanity that has been stored for us to have access to in the times when we need to. And we feel that we have aligned so beautifully with everybody around. Like, it was this one consciousness. This is what New Earth is about. It's one consciousness. There is no separation between the parts of it, and you recognize yourself in each and every part. It's like the drops of the ocean, where that love is so overwhelmingly pure and real. There is no competition. There is no ego. Anything from the ego that came into play there was dissolved. It dissolved in pure unconditional love, where there is acceptance and approval and support of one another. And it's like a mycelium, really, like we were one living organism, and we knew something very special was birthed, because we came there on the 22nd, we left on the 29th, and the new earth was born within those 7 days. As they say, it took 7 days for God to create the earth, right?
That's beautiful. So when you get a confirmation and you have beautiful people around you, while we were on the boat traveling down the Nile, you know, you really, that in itself is so beautiful. But when you're around people who are aligned, who've done their spiritual work, who are really about this beautiful land we're talking about, and to see that there's an alignment, that nobody is fighting it, it's a confirmation that, okay, we are heading in the right direction. People want this. You know, how does one create this? Especially with a lot of turmoil going on at the moment. We're talking about wars are starting and coming out of pandemics.
That's what happened. That's what happened with us when we have stepped into this, when the new earth was just starting to get born. We just saw this interesting dichotomy between the fact that this massive light of this unconditional pure love has, you know, landed itself on the earth. At the same time, the turmoil was happening, and we found out about the war between my country, Russia, and Ukraine. And I do feel there is absolutely no separation between the two. To me, it's like two brothers fighting, and I feel that there is not the cause of the war is not the real. It's not the real reason.
It's not the story or the narrative that we are led to believe in, of course, the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And it's not about suddenly going, oh, we hate them now. We
had a privilege of seeing it from a loving space. What I think most people do have the privilege to do, because as soon as you get challenged, as soon as your safety and your well-being gets challenged, the first thing we do is we go into fear, and fear has this quality of swallowing you alive, of, you know, taking what's dear to you and turning it into something heavy. And we were, like I said, we were privileged enough, and our intention here is to bring it from our hearts to yours, so that you find that peace within and understand that all of the things that are going on around us are actually serving us. And in the higher purpose, it is actually the best thing that can happen. It's hard to see it during the time, but within a certain time we will know.
Well, it's different dimensions, and I know some of you might be thinking, if you're watching this, what does that even mean? Different dimensions, 3D, 4D, 5D. Some of you will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm barely knowing what I'm talking about half the time anyway. But when you're in a 3D dimension, when you're out of it, you feel when the 3D world's got you, the heaviness of it, the drama, the victimhood, the blame. And when you step out of it, you're like, you give yourself that moment, and you can have it even if you got it all around you. If you're in a corporate job or wherever you are in a city, you know, you need to cultivate the heart and find a place to meditate and make it a ritual. Like meditating is like brushing your mind, you know, to get to the heart. You like brushing your teeth, right? You don't skip a day if you want to feel that you can step into this new dimension and really get out of that mindset and be in a space of love and gratitude. That we remind ourselves every day, because when you're there, it's like you're not pulled down to a lower frequency of fear. And when you're not there, you are in control of your life. You're not a victim of your life.
And you keep your space open for the wisdom to flow through you, because it feels like we know now that the new earth represents itself, the new community, the new communal consciousness, the new humanity, which really is just carrying in it the wisdom of the ancient world. We had that wisdom available to earth long time ago. We forgot about this, and now we are reawakening it in ourselves again. And funny enough, just literally a couple of weeks before we went on that journey, we bought the domain thenewearth.com.
Yep.
We didn't know what we were going to put on it. We only knew that, our intention was to hold space for it, but what did it mean? And only now, once we really feel that the experience is now starting to unpack itself for us, that we know that this is what's going to be the portal for many people to touch upon the consciousness that is far beyond what we've always known.
And it's available to everybody, as much as you're led to believe it isn't, because obviously the fear is, it feels like they're in ultimate gear now in order to distract you from ultimately your true power. And we're here to remind you that you have it within you. You do not have to be misled into fear, blame, all of the lower frequency vibrations of those emotions, that when you tap into your true potential, you can rise up beyond anything in whatever environment you're in. When you start to surround yourself with videos like this, or if you are reading books or just sitting with yourself, the inner wisdom is there. We're here to teach you that the leader is within. You're not looking externally for something outside of yourself. We're not here to be that either.
Yeah, but then you find your people. Yeah. In that space, you find your people, and your strength is in your unity and in your union. And there is nothing stronger than people who are aligned in one cause and one core belief. And that's the beauty of our experience that we invite you to. This is what this channel is about. This is what we are about. And who knows what the new earth is going to bring. But we know that it is already home to our companies like self-love, which is all natural, which is all there to reawaken the experience of nurturing your own self, nurturing your body and your soul in a way that we've forgotten how to do, especially women.
Empowering women, and with a ritualistic approach, because every product that we have, including, we'll go into the other value game or the New Earth Cafe, is an embodiment of how we live. We're not putting things out there in order to focus on making money, as we see so many companies are still in this old way of thinking, and they dissolve and implode and put people's safety at risk because they're focusing on money rather than the value, and rather being in alignment and being, what's the word I'm looking for? Being
abundant?
Authentic, because, and abundant, AA, because AA meeting, authentic abundance. We need to be there. We are representation. That's why our faces are here, because we're not hiding. We want to be held accountable because we're putting things out there that is for you. Ultimately, the value game being helping parents and children, because we use it ourselves, and to put something out there that really unites parents and children together, that they can communicate, and the parents are getting training to be how to be parents, and the children are trained in order to know how to speak emotionally, so that the bond is even greater, that the children then don't project authority onto governments that they need to be led by them. Instead, they know how to feel like this instead of like this, and that's why we have these problems over and over again.
This is the new generation that requires extra care, and it requires extra loving support, because they are not us. They see the world so differently. They have been equipped with different types of perspectives that were not available to us in our generation, and we need to honor them for holding this space for us, for the new unveiling to become. And speaking of money, saying how people do it for money and that becomes their priority, it was a big realization to me, or confirmation, let's say, remembering that the true and real abundance is within us. We have within us all the keys to all the questions, all the answers. We have within us resources that are beyond anything we can ever see in the material world. And if you really nurture that within you without trying to put a label on it and actually try to sell it, but nurture it within you in such a way that you empower and inspire other people to be so sovereign, then it becomes a mission of aligning your higher selves, of being the new earth.
Yeah, and it doesn't serve us to have people who are, say, followers, or looking up. A new earth is about a shared community, where we're all one, and we're all sharing our resources, and personally, I'm so excited to be able to share so many of the ideas that are flowing through us and birthing them into companies that are babies to grow up in order to serve humanity in some way equally, that it serves everybody, and to hear your feedback and to address you directly if you're using our products as soon as they, literally are out there, that how does it better your life and how can we adapt and how can we learn? We listen to you. We're not listening to their shareholders or whatever these things turn out to be. It's about people. And I feel like these entities take over at times, these corporations, depending on how big they get, and they lose the connection. And we're here to keep accountable. This is a new earth. We're here to look at you in the eyes and say, give us your questions. Yeah. Tell us how you feel.
Harvest your abundance.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. This is what we're calling you to do. And finally, this is what the new earth is about. It's about harvesting your abundance into creating such a relationship with your resourcefulness that it's unshakable, undoubtful, that you feel so strong and so sovereign in who you are, the inner authority of the king and queen that you are, so that you may not be wavered by what's going on the outside, because you know that your inner compass will always support you.
Yeah, and we're just here to remind you as you're here to remind us. So we thank you, every single one of you, for allowing us to share our message and to channel, because we get so much love that comes through us.
Yeah.
And I feel like the abundance, we're aligned to it. And you, because you're there listening, we get to do this. So really, thank you so much.
We love you. We are so grateful for you. And until next time.
Yeah, and any questions, anything, please comment. We want to hear from you. We love you.